Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And we're talking to some other folks where health is very important. It's Chad and Katie Brewer from New Spring Wellness Center. And you guys have an amazing backstory of how you and why you started New Spring Wellness Center. So you had a couple of other businesses here at the lake, bungee jumping, trampoline, pets. And then, Chad, you started to have a drinking problem, right? And so how long was the drinking an issue for you?
Well, it was our last business, I think, in the pet business where it became a real problem where I wouldn't even show up for work. Katie was kind of running the business.
Right.
And it got to a point where a friend of mine in Chicago would literally fly down here to see me because he was that worried about me.
Wow.
And he had found a treatment program for me 12 hours away that works with IV NAD that replenishes the pathways in your brains that have been damaged due to the substance. Well, none of this made sense to me.
Yeah.
So,
probably seemed like hokum. It's,
right.
You know, they're taking my money and running and stuff. Yeah.
So Katie did the research and
I was hopeful.
Yeah.
And I've always liked natural stuff. Like he always kind of made fun of me, with, essential oil diffusers and, stuff like that. But I was hopeful. And, we had a friend that did it first. And she just had a testimony where she just was like, I was around at a restaurant and people were drinking around me. And she was sitting there thinking, wow, I can't believe
I'm not craving it.
Yeah, I'm not sitting there going, gee, that looks great. I wish I could have one of those. And that really kind of spoke to us and gave us some hope that maybe this would work.
I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Didn't believe it.
Right. And there's a lot of people watching that don't believe it now, right? How can an IV drip help me get over my addiction? But here's a guy that had a drinking problem and it made all the difference in your life.
Well, it was life and death for me. It was getting to that point where my health was going downhill. And even though I didn't believe it, I wanted to quit. I really did want to quit. Yeah. But I just physically couldn't. Wow.
And when you think about it, it makes sense. I think all of us are at the age, remember that old commercial with the fried egg? This is your brain on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
That you make changes to your brain by using substances.
Yeah.
People think alcohol is kind of harmless because it's legal and in many ways it's encouraged. But it does. It makes changes to your brain.
Yeah.
And so by replenishing this NAD, it addresses those changes.
And knowing Chad, you're a very strong-willed guy. You're kind of a force to be around, and yet you weren't strong enough to overcome this addiction on your own, even though you wanted to. That's pretty amazing to me, because most of us, growing up, think, pull up your bootstraps, you can do anything, and this you were kind of felt helpless to do. So when Chad was going through this, and I've seen pictures of you during that time, you don't even look like the same guy.
130 pounds heavier.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It looked like somebody had taken a tire pump and just blown him up.
Yeah, not even the same guy.
Yeah, so much healthier now, feels so much better. And, we're so fortunate to, in the context of what we do now, we get to offer hope to people. Yeah. Because there's so many people out there that are struggling, that maybe they have tried before, or maybe they've even been to traditional rehab, and the minute they walked out those doors and they were back in their regular life, their footsteps were taking them down that path again.
Yeah.
And, for them, maybe that missing piece was that work on the brain. And so it's an amazing thing, when he was struggling, we were super private about it. Yeah. We weren't talking to our friends at church. We weren't even really talking with our family about it, which was a lonely place probably for both of us.
Right.
But it's amazing that when we feel like he was really healed and transformed, that God brought us to a place that we're like, gosh, we just need to shout this from the rooftops.
Yeah.
And so now it's crazy. Now we're on TV and talking about it on the radio about something that used to be really private.
You tried to hide it, try not to let anybody see it, right? All that
I would
stuff.
go to AA on the other side of the lake hoping not to run into anyone I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not alone. I mean, that's pretty normal.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever think about leaving Chad in the hardest of times?
I mean, there was definitely times that I was crying out to God saying, this is not what I signed up for.
Right.
But God kept on bringing me back to a place where I was like, I knew that he could make something beautiful of our story. And that our story wasn't over yet.
Right.
But that was the only thing that got me through those hardest times.
Right, is that hope that you
Yeah.
guys have talked about, that hope that you try to bring through New Spring Wellness Center.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you have any hope that you were going to be able
No.
to get out of this?
I didn't think so. I really didn't. And that's the thing with addicts or alcoholics. They've tried other methods, and not to say that people aren't successful doing it. Some people are. I just wasn't. So when I wasn't successful at that, I'm like, there's no way this is going to work because the struggling I had every day, I didn't think could ever leave me.
Yeah. And what a sad place to be when you talk with people who just think, well, maybe this is just me. I've tried so many times and I've failed.
Yeah.
And they're almost afraid to be hopeful. What a depressing and sad place
Boy,
to
that
be.
is sad. Yeah. And so New Spring Wellness Center, part of what you do is try to bring that hope back to people. We'll talk more about that. We're talking with Chad and Katie Brewer, owners, operators of New Spring Wellness Center. We'll have more here on the Community Spotlight Show right after this. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Loring. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. If it's happening at the lake, it's happening on Lake TV. From the polar plunge to festivals, parades, aquapalooza, and boat shows, Lake TV has it all. Even the granddaddy of them all, the shootouts. If you're looking for places to party, things to do, or even a new home to move into, you've gotta love Lake TV. Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC, Central Ozarks Medical Center. It's Chad and Katie Brewer, owners of New Spring Wellness Center, Osage Beach. How long have you guys been running New Spring Wellness Center? Is it?
I guess it's been about 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the story, in case you didn't hear it, is that you had a drinking problem. The NADIV drips saved your life, basically. You didn't think it would work. It did work.
Right.
And so I'm guessing the light bulb went on for you guys and you're going, we need to do this. This is our calling here, right?
More so than any other business we've ever been in. We've had some fun businesses being in, more entertainment and stuff like that, but this is the most meaningful in
It
that,
really is, yeah.
whether we're helping people with addictions or just to feel better and boost their immunity and so forth. It's been so fun to be able to work with our local people, meeting other business people at chamber events and so forth, and having them, come in to do everything from quit smoking to get help, losing weight, help with hormones, whatever. But it all kind of, became a part of what we do but we started for the addictions part.
Yeah, absolutely. You've mentioned God a couple of times, Katie. I'm guessing you guys have a faith. Does that play a part in what you're doing now?
Oh, yeah, you bet. I mean, we feel like, not only was God, part of the reason why we ended up at Lake of the Ozarks, 31 years ago, when we only intended to come for the summer,
Right.
to, we feel like all the businesses along the way and stuff were preparing us for what we do now.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever done something where we've had so many opportunities to pray with people and pray for people. It is amazing how much just hurt there is out there.
Yeah.
And we definitely bring our faith to work every day.
Yeah. Do people appreciate that? People that are going through addiction that you're helping at New Spring Wellness Center with these NAD IV drips. So here you're throwing God in their face, you're bringing up God. Do they appreciate it? Do they rebel against that? How does that work?
I don't think we've had anybody really say anything in 5 years, and we pray with the patients every day.
Or we offer
We
to.
offer to.
Right.
Sometimes they're a little taken aback.
Sure.
But most people, because we're very upfront to begin with, are not necessarily surprised. And so forth. And honestly, Christians are not immune to having problems.
No.
So a number of the people that come to us, are of the Christian faith, and they're just struggling.
Right. Right. So that's a big part of what you, are there stories, I'm guessing there are stories for both of you that come to mind of maybe where what you do now, New Spring Wellness Center, your IV treatments and stuff, have saved lives like maybe your life was saved. Does any memory of that come to mind, any specific people?
Absolutely. And you can look on our website, because some of these people that have come to our New Spring Wellness Center have come back and said, man, I want to tell people about this.
Right.
And they share their testimonies on our website. And it's amazing just the lives that have been changed. And you look at them now, one of them's our nurse. We have people that have their lives have just totally changed from what the grips of alcohol or drugs have done to them.
Yeah, that's got to feel good, right? I mean, when you sit down at night or whatever and think, I'm really making a difference in people's lives. Does that ever hit you? Do you ever sit down and think, wow, I'm really doing something pretty special here?
Yeah, I think we do.
God's doing it.
God,
We're a part of it. We're definitely a part of it, and that is super rewarding. And and it can be a roller coaster.
Yeah, there's ups and downs, like I said, because when you get people in who have been through 6 different treatments, I mean, it's a tough few days in the begining.
And we wish we could say that everybody was successful, but for everybody, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And at some point, we certainly hope that everybody will get to that point of recovery, but it's super rewarding to have a front seat for that ride.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. This isn't 100%. This doesn't work for everybody.
No.
You probably got people that it didn't work for, that have tried to make you feel bad about it or have fought against you or something like that. Have you noticed a reason why it works for some people and not for other people? Is it a mental thing? Is it a physical thing? Why is that?
At the end of the day, they determine their success.
Okay.
And I think a lot of times it's determined by their level of desire in the beginning.
To get better?
To want to quit. They have to want to quit.
Some
It's
of
like
them are coming
you wanted to, but you couldn't.
Right.
But you still wanted to.
And Katie couldn't want it more than I did.
Yeah.
That
And that's the
person needs
thing.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, they're coming in because, their spouse is threatening to leave them. Or it's a child brought in by parents that they want to please their parents, but they're not really sure that they're, ready or want to make that change. They really determine their own success. And
this is a tool that helps them
Yeah.
get that clarity.
So if there's anything that's really necessary, I mean, the IV drips, the NAD IV drips that you guys do at New Spring Wellness Center, they'll work, but you have to want it.
Yeah,
to work.
you have to want to work. You have to be willing to change your life.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of this substance, there's a lot of time to fill.
Yeah.
Because you're not out doing that all the time. And that's one thing that I noticed as soon as I became sober and quit drinking. Boy, there was a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah.
Our yards
That
never
you
looked
could
as
drink.
good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, he gets a lot more done now.
Okay, so we're out of time, but if folks want to get more information about New Spring Wellness Center, how do they get that?
NewSpringWellnessCenter.com. They can call us, 573-693-1977. We're active on Facebook. Come on in and see us.
Yeah.
Osage Beach.
They're really nice. They're not scary. Chad and Katie Brewer, New Spring Wellness Center, thank you guys. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.